Hi students, as you are aware, these days in a series of video, I am covering the topic which specialization is best for placements, and I am covering nearly all the major specializations one by one. In my last video, I covered marketing as a specialization, and today in the same series, I wanted to cover finance as a specialization. What is the career path? How does a career and the job scenario in finance specialization looks like? And should you choose finance as your specialization, will it be the best for placements? First things first, let us look at why finance as a specialization and as a career is so important. See, when you talk of finances of a company, be it a small company or a very large conglomerate or a very large corporate, now finance is something that they have to audit and do all the taxations and all, which is a government or a regulator requirement. You cannot do away with finance or with the finance department in your office, whether you are a small company or you're a large company. And this is irrespective of whether which country you are from, which region, like what is your turnover, all these things are immaterial. You have to maintain financial records, book of finance, and that is why any company would definitely require finance professionals. Now, let's look at the profiles that are offered typically in a campus placements to MBA finance students. So if you are doing MBA finance, what kind of roles would you be working in? So basically, the most given role is a financial analyst, and then there are roles in investment banking, there are roles in wealth management, there are roles in risk analysis, financial research, and so on. So if you are doing MBA finance, you can go to one of these roles or maybe many other roles. Now let's talk of the salaries which are offered to an MBA finance student. So typically, as I said, since the role is very, very important, it's a regulator driven role. So the companies want to attract the best of talent for their finance profiles, and that is the reason the salaries are quite competitive. MBA finance students are one of the best paid, and also one thing you have to consider is normally MBA finance students are hired in large corporates. Usually there are fewer startups and all who would hire MBA finance students for their finance roles. Usually it is either the large corporates who hire for their corporate finance, or consulting companies who are actually taking care of the financials of large corporates like Big Fours and all. Let's have a look at the skills which are required from an MBA finance student. And if you're an MBA finance student, what skills are required so that you do better in your career? The first thing, very important thing, is you should be very, very good with numbers. Now, so that's the reason students with maths background and commerce background usually take up MBA finance. So it is not that other students cannot take MBA finance, but you should have an interest in numbers. Numbers should be exciting you, and they should not be a reason for you to feel bored and so on. The other thing, of course, is good communication skills. Now, if you are hired by, let's say, a Big Four or a consulting organization, what happens is, apart from doing the back end work, you may have to connect with clients and talk to them, understand their requirements, understand their problems, and so on. So basically, good communication skills are required. So from an MBA finance students, good with numbers and good in communication skills. Okay, now let's talk of what are some of the pitfalls, some things that you should be aware that these are maybe the drawbacks of a career in finance. The first thing is that you need to put in long working hours. Now, if you are working in a large corporate and so on, or in a consulting company, in a finance role, basically you need to put in a lot of time, and also the pressure is over the roof. So be prepared for that while you are paid well and the perks are really good, you need to put in long working hours. The second drawback or something like that you would say is that finance jobs are mostly desk jobs. So what happens is, sitting for long hours, and that too in a desk job, may not be that healthy proposition. So you need to find alternate means of staying physically fit and active. There are some more pitfalls, there are some more things which you should be knowing, and one of them is there is very less scope of error in this job. Now that is something you have to basically take care of, because since, as I said, it's a regulator requirement to keep your book of finance error free. So that's the reason that you don't have a scope of error when you are in a finance job. And one more thing that you should be aware of is the fact that usually in year ends and maybe sometimes in quarter ends also, the workload is very high. So you may have, if you have finance professionals in your known people and in your community, then you would know, sometimes in year ends and all, they don't even go back to their homes. They have to stay back in their office and all. So during those year ends and quarter ends and all, the pressure is really high. The amount of work is very high. And one last thing that you should be cognizant of is the fact that you will have a kind of a competition from chartered accountants, CAs. Now basically the role of a CA and an MBA finance sometimes overlaps, and that's the reason sometimes for some roles CAs are preferred and so on. So you have added competition not just from your fellow MBA finance students but also from CAs. So students, today I covered the roles offered, some of the bright points of being an MBA finance student and some not so bright points of being an MBA finance students. So I am sure that this was of some help for you when it comes to taking a decision on which specialization would you choose. And if you like this and if you want information on other specializations too, keep watching and subscribe.